Let's talk about a mistake that Chris made on Love is Blind season 10 on Netflix. This mistake is important because a lot of men make the same mistake and it hurts their ability to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime. First, Chris, if you know, he develops a relationship with Jessica. And after listening to a lot of the interviews that they have done after the show, it's clear to me that Chris told Jessica what he thought she wanted to hear. She was very upfront with her political beliefs. I'm not going to get into them right now, but he did what a lot of guys do, and they a lot of guys will listen to what a woman wants, and they'll anticipate what she wants to hear, and they will say things that will please her. They'll say things that will make her like him. A lot of men, and I believe Chris was in a similar situation. There was a lot of unknown. There was a lot of things that he didn't know about her, but he knew that he wanted to have a relationship or at least explore a relationship with her. And because he's a guy and he's pursuing emotional and mental and physical and spiritual intimacy with her, he wants to take the initiative and say things that will make her like him just as much as he is willing to like her or he likes her. And throughout that process of saying things and answering her questions and talking to her in the pods, she gets an opinion of him, or she develops an opinion and a perspective of him that is based on what he is telling her in his desire to make her like him. And one of the mistakes, and this just is going to be a trend throughout this talk, is Chris got a little bit ahead of himself because he was focused on saying things that he knew would please Jessica without prioritizing, or he did not prioritize as much the things that he needed to say to make sure that Jessica got a an authentic view or authentic perspective of who he is as a person. After the pods, and they go through this engagement, and they begin interacting with each other face to face. The words that he said to her in the pods, excuse me, the words that he said to her in the pods to make her go forward with him or to cause her to develop feelings for him, they didn't match his actions, and his actions didn't match his words. They didn't match what he actually felt inside. And so I don't even have to listen to all of their conversations, but just what has been shown on the show and what has been discussed in interviews, it became clear that there was a misalignment of what they thought about the world, what they thought about politics, what they thought about religion. There appears to be several areas of significant misalignment in Chris and Jessica's story, and as they tried to develop their relationship. And whenever I see misalignment in a couple or a misalignment in a partnership or misalignment at a company or whatever type of relationship it is, whenever I see misalignment, I always ask myself, how did this misalignment occur? And typically misalignment in goals and misalignment in a relationship typically is based on some sort of miscommunication. If you have excellent communication and there's excellent transparency and there's excellent understanding, then it's very difficult to wind up in a place where you feel like you're misaligned with your partner. But in the pods, as Chris was communicating, according to Jessica, he was saying things that were just factually not true about what his political beliefs were or what he thought about certain things. What he thought about a relationship, what he thought about women's and men's roles in a relationship. There was a lot of things that Chris just wasn't being quote unquote honest with Jessica in. And from Chris's perspective, I know there's a lot of men that may feel the pressure as well. Though you feel pressure to say things that make a woman want to move forward with you, even if the things that you're telling her are not actually true or they don't actually represent who you are like as a person. And I have, based on all the things that I have seen, I have to um, equate this to the um, the problem that Chris has in his personality. A lot of men who are developing, you may not you may not be as sure about your political beliefs. You may not be as sure about what you think about the world. You may not be as sure as you should be about your personality. You may not have the confidence that you want to have. And when you're dating somebody who is older, and Jessica was older than Chris, a lot of times you feel like, hey, I my opinions can change, or my personality could change, or my perspectives on things can change. So why should I say or communicate exactly how I feel right now if how I feel is going to ruin my opportunity to move forward with a woman that I like? Shouldn't my desire to be with a woman, my desire to love this woman, desire to be intimate with this woman, shouldn't that desire um, outweigh my loyalty or my commitment to my core beliefs? And that's a problem that a lot of men have to solve. Are you going to say whatever a woman wants to hear so that you can get whatever intimacy that you're looking for? Or are you going to stay true to who you are as a person and what you really believe? From Chris's perspective, after it didn't work out with Jessica, he started to pursue Bree, who happened to be his other choice or other person that he was developing feelings with when he was in the pods. And as he approached Bree, as he conversated with Bree, the energy was much different. And I believe that a lot of men go through this tug of war. It's like a pendulum that swings. A lot of guys, they will, and me included, a lot of guys will try the nice guy route. They will be overly accommodating. They will be overly considerate. They will be almost to a fault, almost to the detriment of their authenticity. They will be as nice of a guy as they could possibly be in order to please the woman that they are interested in. They want to make her happy. But when that doesn't work out, or if it works out in failure for whatever reason, a lot of guys will swing to the other side of the fence. They'll say, well, I tried the nice guy approach. I might as well now just say whatever it is that's on my mind, or say whatever it is that I want to say to the next person that I'm going to pursue, and we're just going to see how what it's like to be the bad guy. We'll just see what it's like to be the guy that really doesn't care about saying the exact perfect thing to the right person at the right time. And I believe that that's what was Chris's approach with Bree, which is why Bree was like, "What's going on? What is this energy coming from? Like, what's up? Like, I don't know what's going on with this. Are you pursuing me? Are you not pursuing me?" I believe that at that point, Chris was just like, you know what? I already struck out being the nice guy. Now I'm going to try my hand at being the bad guy. I'm going to say things that I shouldn't say. I'm going to do things that I shouldn't do. I'm going to say things that are a little bit taboo. And I'm just going to be like, yo, let's just make this work. But what Chris kind of like he betrayed his intentions, because when he was talking to Bree and he was just quote unquote being in his most realist self, he wasn't trying to be the nice guy anymore. You can kind of tell that he knew it was toxic behavior, because um the carrot that he offered to her was, hey, let's get a hotel, let's hook up, which is a short-term behavior. It's a casual behavior, and a lot of people are into hookup culture. And I'm not going to say that Chris is the only one. I know there's a lot of people out there. So I'm not judging the hookup culture, but I'm just saying that subconsciously Chris knew that the energy that he was putting off was short-term energy. The energy that he was pulling off was like, hey, I'm the bad guy. Let's try to make something happen short term. I struck out as the nice guy. You know, let's just see what happens. Because deep down inside, Chris, like many other men, you get lonely. We get lonely, and you want to be with someone. And um, some men feel like, hey, I just want to be with someone. I want someone to care about me. I want someone to love me. I want to love someone. I want to care about someone. Some men, and I know like men are not alone in this, but when you get lonely, you'll say things that you probably wouldn't have said if you weren't lonely. When you get lonely, you may act certain ways that you would typically not act if you weren't lonely. And I believe that regardless of how strong he was portrayed when he broke up with Jessica, I don't think he actually wanted to break up with her. But that was the response, that was the result of that interaction. And so he went through, as a man, you go through this feeling of feeling rejected, and then right after rejection comes loneliness, and then when you're feeling lonely, you're like, okay, how do I fix this? It's like a sickness. And so he did the pendulum swing to the other side. And that pendulum swing, when he was trying to be the bad guy, or he was trying to be like the guy that didn't really care about anyone, and he was just like going to stand on his soapbox, and he was going to say who was what was who. He was going to be like that strong guy that he felt like he didn't portray with Jessica. I believe it didn't work out so well. And when it didn't work out so well, he was just like, at least I tried. I tried being the nice guy, I tried being the bad guy. This isn't my cup of tea. There's I'll have to try with someone else. And I feel like a lot of guys go through that process of trying to be the nice guy and trying to be the bad guy, and it doesn't work. And just like, dang it, I want a girlfriend, I want a relationship, I want all of the things, I want to start a family, but it's just not working. The mistake that Chris made, and the mistake that I believe that a lot of men make, is we try so hard, especially when we want a relationship. We want to find, nurture, and maintain the type of love that is going to last longer than a lifetime. We want to start a family. We want to provide a good quality of life for our children. The mistake that a lot of men make when we're looking for girls to date, or for looking for women to marry, looking for ladies to take care of, the mistake that we make is we try too hard. We try too hard to say the right thing. And then we try too hard to compensate for being that nice guy. And we switch over to being the bad guy. And who we are as human beings, who we are as men, we are very well adjusted social human beings. And there's going to be a part of our personality that's going to be the nice guy. There's a part of our personality that could be the bad guy, but there's a time and place for being the nice guy, and there's a time and place for being the bad guy. And the mistake that Chris made was he let some outside or some external influence determine when he was going to be the nice guy and when he was going to be the bad guy. Instead of relying on himself and staying true to himself and being authentic with himself and being transparent in his communication and standing on who he is as an individual and communicating authentically who he is, so that Jessica can get to know him as a person and Bree can experience him as a person. He tried too hard to put on a show for Jessica. He tried too hard to put on a show for Bree, and he ended up losing out on anything and anyone. And a lot of guys, I know, I struggled with it earlier in my life. A lot of guys tried too hard to get the girlfriend. We tried too hard to get the wife. We tried too hard to become that person that girls are going to like. We try so hard at it. And in the meantime, or in that process, we lose who we are as men. Um, I'll share my personal story. Uh, when I was growing up in Southern California, I struggled. I liked girls, and I was teased in high school. I was teased in middle school. You get teased when you're a part of a big family. You just have to develop thick skin. To be honest with you, you have to get used to the names. You got to get used to like just there's a certain amount of just getting picked on that you just have to get used to when you grow up in a big family and you grow up in a big city and go to a public school, right? It is what it is. But when it comes to girls, I think my experience is not unlike anyone else's out there. It's in the beginning, girls that I liked just didn't like me. I would say, hey, I like you, and they'd be like, I don't like you, like rejection. Um, I would get them flowers, and they're like, "I don't want the flowers," or I get them. You get them like Valentine's cards, and they're like, "No, I don't want your Valentine," or you get them like candy, and candy doesn't work. And you would say you would write, I would write like letters, or you would try. I would try different things, and it just wouldn't work. It just girls. It wasn't easy. Girls didn't necessarily just like me as a kid. Um, And when they did like me, I valued it. I was just like, oh my gosh, she likes me. She cares about me. Oh, this is amazing. I could imagine kids and family and all this other stuff. And back in the day, when that happened, I was told that, this is puppy love. Like, relax. And I swore up and down. I was like, this is not puppy love. This is going to last forever and ever and ever. It didn't last forever and ever and ever, but that doesn't mean that that wasn't puppy love. Still feel like that was grown man love. But what I communicated that to you. I shared that with you to let you know that love did not come easy. Like, romantic love did not come easy for me when I was growing up as a kid. And in order to get around that, I tried to take the first step. They said girls like to dance, so I tried to learn how to dance. They said, girls like for you to have fun. I was raised in a very religious, very strict household, and we didn't do a lot of dancing. We didn't do a lot of listening to music. We focused mostly on studying and doing community service and chores and doing all the other things that um, my parents my parents asked us to do. And I didn't spend a lot of time working on like the social skills that I needed to develop in order for me to um, initiate and have like a lot of relationships, a lot of girlfriends. And everything that I tried in middle school, in elementary school, in high school, it all failed. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. It was not pretty. It was not pretty. And each time I got rejected, each time I told a girl that I liked her and she said she didn't like me, it hurt. And I know a lot of guys out there can relate to that. Each time you get rejected, it hurts. It is not easy. It is still not easy to this day. If you have any amount of ego, any amount of self esteem, any amount of self confidence, every single time that you get rejected, it hurts. And I think over time, you get better at managing the hurt. You get better at healing from the hurt, but each time it hurts. And as a child that was a sensitive child, that believed in love, that wanted the best for people, and couldn't understand why people hated each other, each time I got rejected, it hurt. Straight up. When I joined the military, and I was like, okay, this is my time to be an adult. This is going to change my relationship with girls. They're going to all like me now because I have this uniform, and it's going to be super cool and fun, and I'm going to have so much experience. I'm going to be able to travel. I'm not going to be like this sheltered little kid anymore. And I started making a name for myself in the military. I started developing a different type of self-confidence, and my relationships, or the girls that I would like, I felt like I was having a lot more success with them, and because I was more confident in who I was becoming as a man. But there was still times when I would buy flowers, or I'd write letters, or I'd call, and I would still get rejected. For the majority of the times, I would get rejected. The few times that I didn't get rejected, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing. This is great." And one time, I was in a situation, and I liked this girl, but I knew that this girl may not like me, but I knew she was single. And I went to her, and I was like, "Hey, what's up? Like, what's going on?" Like, I wasn't that smooth with it, but I tried to figure out if she liked me. So I did the typical thing. I was like, "Hey, do you like me? Yes or no?" That type of thing. And she was like, "No." She was like, "We can be friends." And I'm like, "Ah, dang it. Again, another rejection." And so I was like, "Sure, why not? Let's be friends." Like, it is what it is. I found out later on, shortly after that, I found out later on that she started dating another guy. And whenever you like a girl, and you find out that she's single, and then you find out that she's dating someone else, it kind of hits you. It's like, dang, I was there. I had a chance. I told her I liked her, and it just didn't work out. All right. what is that guy doing that I'm not doing? Like how did that guy do it? And what I had to process was the guy that she ended up dating. He had a better haircut than me. He was a little bit smoother with his words. He did a lot more like romantic gestures. He had more confidence than me. He had a little bit more swag. His walk was a little bit different. He partied better. He danced better. And I was like, hey, it is what it is. Like this guy was a perfect boyfriend for the girl that I liked. And I had to take the loss. I was like, that's an L, but I can work on it. I can work on learning how to dance. I can work on listening to music and learning how to dance. I can learn how to get in better shape. I can build more muscle. Um, I can work on my game. I can work on my conversational skills. I can work on my social skills. I can get a better haircut. I can do better grooming. I can change the way that I dress. And I started like developing a plan to work on myself, to work on my image and work on my personality and to develop into the type of man that the girls that I like are typically dating. And over the years, I got better at it and I started getting better at becoming the guy that the girls that I like were dating, become developing those skills. And when it comes to conversations and personalities and what your core beliefs are, I started getting better at communicating what my beliefs are, what my core values are. I started getting better at like joking and flirting. I just got better with my words. And in some instances, I got so good with my words that I would be able to say things that the girl that I liked wanted to hear, even though, and I, she wanted to hear the words that I was saying, like I was spitting game, like it got so good that I was able to spit the game. But I learned in some instances that the perception that she got of me after I spit my game wasn't an accurate or wasn't a authentic perception. And in some instances, I would say, what, it is what it is. This is going to be a short-term situation. I'm going to spit the game. She's going to like it. And this is going to be short-term. And it is what it is. And we're just going to move on. But in other instances, I wanted it to be long-term. I wanted the relationship to last longer than just a weekend or longer than just a couple of weeks. So when I would spit the game, I had to make sure that the perception that she was receiving or that she was getting of me was as accurate as possible because I didn't want her to think that I was somebody that I wasn't. I didn't want her to think that she's now developing emotional and spiritual and mental intimacy with someone who um, is not who I am. It just wouldn't work out well because over the long run she would feel like I was this one person and she'd be building intimacy and emotional, spiritual, and physical intimacy with this type of person. But if that's not who I am as a person, then there's going to be a misalignment in our relationship. And that misalignment is going to manifest in problems that are going to jeopardize my ability to nurture and maintain the type of love with her that is going to last longer than a lifetime. And so not just speeding game is just not enough. As a man, you have to have a good conversation piece. You have to have your body in a particular shape. Your career needs to be in good shape. But you can't just spit the game and become the man that you think the girl that you like is going to be attracted to. That's just not enough. You also have to work on making sure that the person that you are representing or the person that you are portraying is authentic to who you are as a person. And this gets into like a deep area here because when you're a man and you feel lonely and your self-esteem is taking a hit but you don't talk about it, or your confidence is taking a hit and you don't talk about it, and you think, if I'm with the right girl, if I find the love of my life, or if I'm able to start a family and become a father, then my self-confidence is going to return, then my My self-esteem is going to be back, and I'm going to be bigger and better than ever. Or I'll grow into become this man that is is worthy of my own is just a worthy man. And so when you think like that, a lot of times it's easy to do whatever it is, like essentially pulling out all the stops. It's easy to pull out all the stops and just tell the girl what you think she wants to hear and do the things that you think she needs to see in her man because you like that type of woman. But in the long run, it falls apart because who you are as a man doesn't match the person that you are portraying. It is much better for the long run to be as authentic as possible, even if you have to spit the game, even if you have to put your best foot forward, and even if you have to do some things to convince her that you are that type of man. There are some people out there who will say, fake it till you make it. Even if you have to fake it in the short run, you know what you're faking. If you're in a situation where you're faking it till you make it, and you're attracted to this woman and you're pursuing her, and there's nothing that you would not do for her, if you are faking good qualities, if you are faking good character, if you feel like you have to fake being authentic, if you have to fake confidence, your task, you don't have to break up with her, but your task is to begin developing yourself so that you don't have to fake it. Your task is to focus on learning the things and developing the skills that you need to not have to fake confidence, that you don't have to fake your integrity. You don't have to fake your political beliefs. Your task is to, once you get that girl, like you get her attention by faking it, your task is to start working on yourself so that if she ever looks behind the curtain, she'll see the man that she fell in love with. If she looks behind the curtain and she does not see the man that she fell in love with because you've been faking it this whole time, it is not going to end well for you or the relationship. And you're going to feel even more inadequate when the relationship falls apart, because at the end of the day, she never knew who you really were because you were faking it the whole time. And now you will never know that, hey, this woman who I love and she loves me, this woman does not have an accurate perception or perspective of who I am. And because she doesn't have an accurate perspective of who I am, when she decides to end the relationship or when the relationship falls apart, she's actually breaking up with someone who is not me. She's actually breaking up with someone that does not represent reality. She was in a relationship with someone who is not a real person. And so when the relationship falls apart and you go your own separate ways and you've been faking it this whole time, it hurts your confidence even more because you didn't have the confidence, you didn't have the strength, the internal moral fortitude to be authentic to who you are as a person, so that when she rejects you, she's rejecting you as an individual. She's rejecting you as a person. She's rejecting your authenticity. She's communicating that you as individuals are not good fits. And the reason why I say it hurts your confidence even more when you're faking it is because once it's all said and done, now you have questions in your head. Dang it. Would we have even broken up if I would have been authentic? Would we have not worked out if I would have been more transparent? Maybe there was a reality, or maybe there was an opportunity for her to get to know me as an individual, and I